The Rockingham County Fair officially kicked off this week, offering tons of rides, food, games, and of course, pony rides. Now, what about inside the classroom? When school board meetings turn into screaming matches, does it impact student behavior? Well, that's what one Valley teacher seems to think. Augusta Health's main hospital received a bomb threat from an unknown caller at 5:10 this evening. Now, when I arrived at the scene, law enforcement had blocked off all entrances to the main hospital and closed roads. I was also made to shelter in place in my vehicle for close to an hour. In just a few short years, the number of child pornography cases in Waynesboro have skyrocketed, and it's something that law enforcement officers believe will only continue to grow. This year alone, police saw a total of 81 cases. That's around 8 times the number of cases for 2019. As you can tell from the pile behind me, the Shenandoah Valley got a pretty decent amount of snow on Sunday night, and honestly, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon because I am still very much up to my ankles in this stuff. With bitter temperatures and snow on the ground, it's usually best to avoid driving at all costs. And the most rewarding part?
That it's invaluable. Even though we, quote unquote, are the mentors, we always learn from our mentees.
Working hard for you, Shelby Martin, WHSV.
The school board is also looking to revise its transgender policy. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, Kayla, about 2 months ago, the board passed Governor Glenn Youngkin's model policy for transgender students, requiring parent permission for a student to use a different name or pronouns. However, the board hopes to revise this policy. Virginia is one of a handful of states suing the Biden administration over its new Title IX policy. But like Olaf here, my toes are frozen. Either way, we are having so much fun. We're collecting toys for kids ages 0 to 12, but right now they specifically need toys for kids from ages 0 to 2 and 10 to 12. No surprise that the Shenandoah County School Board's decision to restore those Confederate names left the community divided. But in the hours leading up to the vote, tensions ran especially high. Protesters gathered outside the Shenandoah County School Board meeting, just hours before the board became the first in the nation to restore its original Confederate names.
We don't name our schools after traitors. They betrayed their oath and fought for what we know now was slavery.
Inside the meeting hall, several attendees sported T-shirts and Letterman jackets from their own high school years, back when Mountain View High School was known as Stonewall Jackson High School. Others had shirts specially made to say Stonewall Jackson High School 2024 to commemorate, quote, reclaiming the name, like Stephen R. Heischman, who shared his stance at the meeting.
Tearing down statues and monuments and erasing history while indoctrinating children is exactly what Adolf Hitler did.
Gene Kilby, who lived through segregation, also shared his story.
We were threatened. They shot through our house. They mutilated our livestock. And they murdered my dog. This was done by Confederate sympathizers.
And here's what another attendee had to say.
Unfortunately, those of us that wanted to keep the names the same, we have been called racist. We have been called white trash. We have been called everything in the book.
We'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more. Working hard for you, Shelby Martin, WHSV. Trump signed several executive orders on day one, from ending birthright citizenship to delaying a TikTok ban. I've decided to ask people how they feel about the inauguration and how they think the next 4 years are going to go. I'm standing in the 1700 block of West Beverly Street, where Stanton police say they responded to multiple calls for shots fired around 1:30 p.m. today. Now, there are no reported injuries, but there is one suspect in custody. It was a normal Tuesday afternoon in Stanton until the gunshots rang out.
We thought it was a trailer is what we thought it was.
It's an alarming trend in schools around the country and here at home. For the past several days, there have been 12 school threats in the Shenandoah Valley. This just days after the deadly mass shooting at a Georgia high school. Now parents are grappling with concerns about school safety and faced with some tough questions. Naya is there with survivors for every step of the way, from greeting them at the door to joining them in the witness box.
We ask a lot of child victims coming into court and testifying a lot of times against an abuser, but Naya is able to be with them where they can reach her and pet her and just know that they have a physical support system there.
At Fawn Crossing Farms, remnants of the recent drought are everywhere, like the subtle hints of yellow foliage in the trees and crunchy leaves on the ground, two things we don't normally see until October. But thanks to severe weather, the grass is a little greener at the farm, which is great for the livestock who have spent the past several months eating hay. Harrisonburg Police Department received a call for multiple shots fired. So far, we know that one person has been injured and they were transported to Centera RMH for treatment. We don't know their condition, nor do we know the identity of both the victim and the suspect. The town of Bridgewater's currency, called Riveroo's, can be used at almost any local business, just like New York Flying Pizza, which I'm about to try for the very first time. I wondered what issues voters care about, so I decided to ask them myself.
There's affordable housing and childcare, and another one is just transportation. So those are just three local issues I'm engaged in that I know are national issues.
Voters, the homeless issue. Harrisonburg has a really bad problem with homelessness.
With inflation and the rising cost of living, many Virginians say groceries just aren't affordable anymore. In fact, 78% of them say groceries have become harder to afford within the last year. Working hard for you, Shelby Martin, WHSB.